Welcome to another Black Marble Bite Size. This is the fourth in a series of interviews with our Microsoft Most Valuable Professionals. I'm Liberty Shaw, Business Development Manager at Black Marble, and the interviewer of this session. On our virtual sofa today, we have our Chief Executive Officer and Microsoft Regional Director, Robert Hogg. So to get started, Robert, could you please tell us a little bit more about yourself, your specialist technology areas, and why you have been recognized as a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional?
My passion is software development. It has been for about 48 years. I started when I was 5, and I've loved it ever since. A strange start to the world, I guess. My specialist areas are really around quality of systems, building systems that are going to last and are robust and secure. But my personal areas are real-time scheduling theory, artificial intelligence, and cryptography. Um, Interestingly, that's what I started 30 years ago doing, and it's become more and more important as time goes on. You always expect sort of technology areas to sort of lapse over time, but they've just become more and more prevalent. Again, sort of into the MVP area, I've been MVP for BizTalk, integrating systems, Visual Studio, architecture, and now it's sort of cloud and cloud integration. I personally think the most important tool is Notepad, but there isn't an MVP for Notepad. Maybe that's an aspiration for a few years' time. That, along with the regional director, and again, the regional director is a multidisciplinary and been able to run a business at the same time. So I'm very honoured Microsoft used me as an important person. It's very nice.
Thanks, Robert. So we've got a webinar coming up titled Cloud is for Life, Not Just for Christmas. Could you start off by giving us a brief overview of what this session will cover?
I think that the key that people miss when they go to the cloud is they throw something in the cloud and they don't think really that much about it. It solves an immediate problem. But what you actually need is you need a strategy, and you need a strategy from the outset. And the strategy has to be the foundations, security, why you're making a move, what the benefits are, how you're going to do it. And what we're talking about is the concept called the cloud operating model. And the cloud operating model is not just the technology stack, it's the way that you actually approach the cloud, and it's the way you're going to deliver into the cloud. We have a white paper on that, which I wrote earlier in the year, and I think we'll be delivering that as part of the seminar as well.
The webinar will be touching on the topic of cloud governance and compliance. Why is this such an essential starting point in anyone's cloud adoption?
Again, it's sort of the cloud has so many benefits. However, cloud governance capabilities ensure that the risks and risk tolerances are properly evaluated and managed. Again, a lot of organizations start in the cloud and then they haven't really thought about how they're going to manage it and how they're going to ensure that their delivery meets their corporate responsibilities. So, governance ensures we get what we want, how we need it, when we want it, in a repeatable and provable way. We talk about sort of the process roles, responsibilities, the guide to development, the subsequent use of how you're going to use it and how you're going to repeat that later on. Failures in governance is the thing that people always think about. The positives of governance is you get this repeatable, manageable solution that's always going to work. And failures in governance are unexpected high billing. You leave services that you don't need running for 24 hours a day when you need them for an hour a day, or you only need 3 units most of the day and a bulk of 180 units 1 hour a day, and you run 180 units all that time, your bills are going to be a lot higher. So data sovereignty, GDPR, and again, they can end up with sort of no audit trails, and you can end up being litigation, investigation. But the thing is, governance is always seen as a negative thing. People think it's going to stop them doing things, but it's in fact exactly the opposite. It's going to enable them to deliver better technology. Which services are acceptable for use in projects? Where you're going to host it? Which location, as in UK, Europe, US? What's the security and how you're going to purchase and manage it? And people think those are negative things, but they're actually going to generate a much more positive effect on your delivery into the cloud. And again, it's a mindset. Oh, governance is going to tell me what to do. No, governance is going to help you deliver better. And it's that mindset change that people need to make.
You've said in the past that DevOps underpins cloud delivery. Could you elaborate on that, please?
I think saying it underpins cloud delivery undervalues it quite heavily. And I know I've said that, that's not a knock at you, but It's an approach that's going to allow you to go. If you think about governance as the sort of the management aspects, and then DevOps is the actual sort of the physical delivery component. Again, it's about repeatability, quality, reliability. I mean, adopting DevOps gives you culture changes and technology options, better release cycles, and lots of great techie stuff which techies love. But the bits we really care about is it gives accountability, visibility, collaboration across the development groups, and you have a better holistic delivery lifecycle. Now, it's worth remembering that it's not about going faster, but this is a byproduct of automation. It's about reducing risk, delivering value. And the one that people really forget about DevOps is it's not a product. It's a conceptual thing which wraps up source code control, pipelines, testing, release types. It's a conceptual group of things which are going to improve your cloud delivery. The pieces where people fail, though, is they don't engage the entire team, and they might miss out IT, or they might miss out testing or design. But you need everybody from development to operations to be a part of DevOps working together to deliver your cloud value.
As CEO of Black Marble, how have you influenced the use of Azure within the organization for successful project delivery?
Well, I mean, I have to say that's not really a fair question, to be fair, because I've got some exceptionally strong technical people who any one of them, Richard or Rick or any of the guys, could actually do it with their eyes shut, as in they have the capability. So it's saying that I managed to lead them. It's not. It's a great set of people who work together who can actually bring different aspects. So Richard with DevOps, and Rick with governance, and Andy with collaboration, and Ryan with scale and sort of data centers. We've got a set of people who can deliver a holistic solution. Each one of them could do a great job by themselves, but together we can deliver something quite exceptional. So have I done it myself with ease? Have I done it in a group? It was even easier. So I think the thing about delivering to Azure is about the conceptual values of what you do. So Black Marble runs in Azure. We do have some on-site solutions as well, because we do stack delivery for some of our customers. But generally, we're actually able to innovate and think about the customer in quite unique ways because of the group of people we've got. And I'd like to take total credit, and sure, why not? I'll take total credit. But it's not realistically me. It's actually a group of people working together in that DevOps style of delivery.
You have also co-written a new edition of the white paper titled Delivering an Enterprise Cloud Operating Model. What kind of topics do you discuss in this?
In the cloud operating model, we discuss actually the entire gamut from governance to security to adoption to management to people. The thing about cloud operating models is it's a very encompassing set of tooling and areas. What we also now cover is actually a lot of the guidance framework. So Microsoft for Azure has some amazing guidance, both for adoption and for architecture and management. But what's interesting is they tend to deal with specific aspects of a cloud operating model. So what we discuss is how would you use those frameworks in your overall cloud operating model? And every organization's cloud operating model is going to be unique, by the way. You know, if I'm a textile manufacturer, I'm going to have shipping issues. I'm going to have supply chain logistics and all that kind of stuff. If I'm managing a gerbil farm, then I've got a whole different kind of problems. So the governance will be different for everybody. There'll be commonality. So what we actually help people do is look at sort of that commonality. And so the cloud operating model says, here's all the things you've got to think about. Here's a common set of solutions to the problem sets. And here's the bits where you've got to think about your organization and what does the cloud mean to you. That sounds a bit metaphysical, sort of, what does it mean to you? But it's actually a very serious thing to say, how's your organization going to adopt the cloud and get the most from it? So the cloud operating model is key, and I strongly urge people to have a read. It's a nice, easy read, and it'll get you all in the right mindset for going to the cloud.
The white paper discusses best practice in the Azure well-architected framework. Do you have any recommendations for how an organization could utilize this framework?
So you've got the concept that millions of applications are running in the cloud successfully every day, okay? But most of them are actually running in silos. like this application, this one, have no idea that the application literally running. How do you measure distance in the cloud? That's an interesting question. Sort of very close in the cloud. Both in application infrastructure workloads, that's generally because an organization will move different applications up and they're all still very siloed. And they could be all built to great development architectures. But then to make them work, you need them to actually work together. So many development teams miss those essential solution architectures as it focuses on non-functional requirements such as cost management, operational management, performance, reliability, security. Observationally, the software architected solutions will quite often have bits of these NFRs, but rarely all. So a well-architected solution needs all of those aspects, not just it was written in insert cool language, cool framework for today, and developers can be a bit the latest silver bullet is insert silver bullet type. But a well-architected framework says it's got to have a functioning application that works, but also it's got to take care of the cloud aspects. The cloud operating model delivers the components together for the cloud practice alongside the well solution architect and the software architecture as well. So the well architecture framework is how do you build a well architected application, but also how you connect them together. Because if you've got a sales application and an operations application and a finance application, you need them to all to coexist as well.
On the topic of Azure, what is it about this cloud platform that you recommend?
So most sort of have form. That's an interesting term. So putting together great practice guidance. For years, I worked with a group called the Patterns and Practices team inside Microsoft, who were all about building the best patterns and practices for delivering applications. Practice guidance are not only just incredibly well thought out, they're also proven. They're going to work. And a lot of organizations are worried about the cloud still. Is it going to work? It's going to work. I mean, it's had probably more engineering work than anything else that's out there. There's a cloud adoption framework as well as the well architected framework, P&P, they've got experts, and all of this pulled together means you've not just got a platform that works, but you've got the guidance, you've got the reliability, you've got the provability, you've got the security, you've got identity. Oh, Azure isn't just dump your code and hope for the best. It's a platform with tooling and management and patterns and practices and guidance to ensure you get success. I think when we adopted Azure years and years ago, we made a choice between obviously several different vendors, and most of the vendors were really sort of looking at lift and shift at the time, so just run VMs. And Microsoft had this vision that the future was actually delivering on a cloud platform. So your applications will just sit natively on a cloud platform. And the thing about that is you can then build much more scalable applications, much cheaper applications, geo-redundant applications. And there's a portion that will always be VMs and historical kind of things, but Azure's always been in that forefront of here's a platform for delivering true cloud native applications. And that's the direction applications are going. How soon they get there, that's a different question.
Where do you see cloud platforms such as Azure making the most impact in an organization?
That's the $1 million question for everyone. There's so many different ways, and it depends on the focus. Like I said before, it depends on what your organization's doing, what they're trying to do, and also what's the ambition. They want to save money by reducing capital expenditure. You need to actually move out of your geo. So, Black Marble's a UK-based company, and we now want to trade in Australia. But with Azure, we can just replicate what we're doing in Australia, and it's a very fast run. Do you need to have better regulatory compliance, or do you need to meet better data sovereignty requirements? Does an organization have marketing or geo kind of demands, or are you transforming your existing products to start disrupting new markets? Now, I have a view, and it's not always a popular view. We've generally found that our organizations we migrate to the cloud save quite a bit of money either on their infrastructure costs or If we've moved them, say, from BizTalk or MuleSoft onto cloud native platform, the actual cost savings are quite tremendous. But here's the thing that I'll put out there. An organization can save money, and the question is, what do you do with the saving of the money? If you then bank it, that's fine, and your organization will stay at the level it's at. Or you can look at that money as a way to fund innovation and transform your business. And all of the truly growth businesses that we've engaged with take the savings from moving to the cloud to then innovate and then actually push not their cloud adoption, but their whole organization forward into whole new areas, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's scaling operations, whether it's new reach to customers. The cloud actually allows you to do that kind of rapid innovation. And there's ways to actually fund it, which people don't think about that. Taking your current OPEX, CAPEX model, the cloud saves you money, and then use it for transformational fund. But if you're now thinking about the organizational type, whether you're in, say, finance, it could be profitability. If it's marketing, you can now gain more customers because you can directly connect to social media platforms and respond faster. Sales, customer lifetime value. IT is the one that everybody focuses on because it's cost savings. Take that box of tin and shred it and put it in the cloud. But the real one for me is innovation. The cloud will give you innovation if you choose to adopt it. And the companies that are succeeding are the ones who are adapting not just into the cloud, but then using it to innovate. And it's the innovate is the key. The cloud offers us some really important things. I mentioned my background was AI. When I was doing research in AI years ago, it would take months and months and months to build an AI model, and then huge amounts of booked computing time to then take that model and get some results. In the cloud, I did an example. One of my daughters has just started a degree in computer science, and we're doing some AI together. And I actually took one of my own research pieces, which would have taken several months in C++ and all that kind of stuff to actually build up a model. And we built a viable model in about 2.5 hours and ran it in Azure. And it took, sadly, about 30 seconds to run. And the entire cost was something really stupid, like 17 pence. Whereas the previous one I'd run, I literally had a room full of computers running the simulation. That is a radical change, that you can deliver massive scale AI for pennies. So you can now apply AI to problems which you could never have done that before. It just wasn't cost effective. And organizations that adopt these amazing cloud offerings and scalable solutions, the next 5 years are going to be utterly transformational for organizations.
Is there any advice that you would give to a company just starting in their cloud journey?
It's easy. Plan, plan, plan. Set down your governance. Get your people on board. And the people on board is the one that people really don't think about. And it's not just your IT people or your devs, but it's actually the rest of the organization. You've got to take them on this cloud journey to say, look, fine, we've moved 26 boxes into the cloud. I would pretty much guarantee the salespeople will go, wow, that's great. But if you say, we've moved into the cloud, this is what we can now do for the sales part of our organization, or this is what we can now do for the HR part of organization. There's now new tools that are available to you. There's now new connections that you can make. There's now new AIs that we can build. We can now look at all of our data in a new way. And these are the way that the cloud can transform our business. And it's about getting all the people involved and taking them on that journey. And a lot more governance. Sorry.
And finally, do you have an Azure top tip to leave us with?
I think the top tip is don't be scared and don't put it off. It's a very welcoming platform. Everything's there. A lot of people are very worried about going to the cloud, and I think the default view of most people is they know they have to. But going back to the previous thing, plan and governance, read the white paper on cloud operating models so you know what to expect. And I've got to say, just come and talk to us. We'll come and help you. That'll be our pleasure to do so.
Thanks, Robert. That was really interesting. As mentioned earlier in the interview, Black Marble will be running a webinar on the 22nd of December where we will elaborate on many of the topics discussed here in more depth. You can also get in touch with us if you would like a copy of Robert's cloud operating model. Thank you.